What I want to talk to you about is, you know, I'm an older guy. I've been called hard-headed more than once. And I was definitely hard-headed when it comes to the new features that are coming out on boats nowadays. And the main one was the Garmin Livescope. I put off getting one for 2 or 3 years. I'm going to tell you the truth. I put it off because I was afraid that maybe this might be something that we might have a new crop of anglers coming up that couldn't fish without it. Because in my mind, all I could think about that Livescope was going out and seeing a fish and throwing to it and catching it. I thought that's all there was to it, you know, and I put it off because of that. And boy, how stupid was that? I mean, I really did. That was a mistake on my part. John Suckup came down back in January of this year and showed me his Livescope and how it worked, and caught a few fish using it. And boy, it opened up my eyes to a whole new world. As a guide, I'm always trying to learn more so that I can pass it on to my clients. And my Garmin Livescope, man, it's been one of the best teaching tools that I've ever had in all these years of guiding. It has really helped me with my teaching my clients how to catch fish. And it's taught me a lot. Man, I have learned so much in the last 4 months. It's unreal. I'll give you a quick rundown. Bass move a lot more than I thought they did. They really do. I've come to figure out that they've got a little area like their neighborhood that they roam around in it, and they roam all the time. They don't sit still very much. They'll sit still maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and then they're on the move again. They don't sit very long. I'm sure they might be different at different times of the year, but what I've seen, they're moving a lot. Another thing is that deal of seeing fish and catching them. Man, there is nothing like seeing a big old bass, casting your lure out there to it, watching your lure go down, and watching that fish take your lure. But I'm telling you, that doesn't happen as much as you think it will. But what does happen is you'll see fish. And when I'm fishing shallow, lots of times I don't actually see the bass because the bank is kind of hiding the fish from me because you're looking shallow. But I do see the bait and I do see the structure. So if I can see bait, it gives me confidence there'll be bass there. Now, when the thing starts shining really good for this Livescope, so you get 10 feet of water or deeper, my gosh, it's crazy how much you can learn and how good it is teaching people. Give you another example. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had an 83-year-old gentleman bass fishing with me, him and his 2 grandsons, and they were wanting to get their pawpaw his personal best. His personal best fish at that time was 5.5 pound fish. We went out that morning. First spot we got onto, I got onto a point, and my Livescope was showing me fish everywhere. It had come a big rain, the lake was coming up, and there was sand bass and spotted bass, and they were feeding. You could see the shad, and we were catching fish. But as the boat would drift to the right, every time it drifted to the right a little bit, I kept seeing this one great big fish out there by itself. But it was kind of windy, and I was staying over here where these fish were, getting these guys these fish. But I kept seeing this big fish. So I turned around, I said, Grandpa, I said, throw right out there a few times, because there's a big fish of some kind roaming around out there. It wasn't just a couple of minutes. I hear, oh my Lord. I turned around, looked in the back of his boat, his rod was doubled over. I went and grabbed a net. He got the bass in. It weighed 9 pounds and 5 ounces. Now that's quite a jump in your personal best. That fish came about because I saw that bass out in that area. Now we didn't hone in on it. We didn't throw to it. Just knew it was in that area. And sometimes that's all you need to know. If it's moving, just keep casting that area. Sooner or later you'll come in contact with it. And that's what happened to him. Now, another great thing about the Garmin Livescope is teaching. Golly, I had a trip just the other day when I had 2 guys throwing the same bait. One of them catching fish, one of them not. It became real obvious when I turned around that the guy catching fish was hopping his bait pretty good. His buddy was dragging a bait. I told his buddy 2 or 3 times, watch what he's doing. He's hopping that bait. He could not, when he'd hop it, he wasn't hopping it enough. And I said, come here, I want to show you something. I got him in front of the boat. I had him cast out in front of the boat. He watched his bait go to the bottom. And when it hit the bottom, I said, fish, show me what you're doing. And he did what he did. You couldn't see the bait even hopping up off the bottom. I said, look. I took his rod and I said, watch this. And I hopped it, and you could see the bait hopping up off the bottom. And almost instantly, we saw a fish that we didn't even see come up and check the bait out. It didn't hit the bait, but it come up and checked it out. That's all he needed. By the end of the day, he actually caught more fish than his buddy did. But it was that teaching. I got to teaching. Now, with the Garmin Livescope, I'm telling you, this isn't something that you think that you can go buy and hook up yourself. This is a piece of equipment that you need a professional to hook it up. And I'm so fortunate that I got hooked up with the bass tank. I mean, these are the pros. This is the guys that are professional fishermen that do it for a living. This is who they get to hook up their Livescopes. And not only do they have the Garmin, they've got Lowrance, they've got Hummingbird, they've got all kinds of trolling motors. and they hook them up for you. They set them up. They're the best. They are the best in the nation at setting up these live scopes. And when you pay for one of these, they're not real cheap. You want it to work right. And I'm not putting down anybody else, but I've had a couple of buddies that have bought them from marine dealerships where they sell boats, and they've hooked them up for them and hooked them up wrong. Well, there's nothing worse than paying a bunch of money and having it hooked up wrong and it not working for you, and you think it's you, when in reality it was the way they hooked it up. When the bass tank hooks up your equipment, regardless of what it is, you can take it to the lake and it will work. And I can tell you, I got a testimony, if he would talk to me. The guy holding my phone right now, 2 weeks ago, bought a brand new trolling motor from the guys at the bass tank. 3 days later, he went out and won the tournament that he was fishing in. Now, I don't know if that trolling motor was what helped him win that tournament, but it definitely didn't hurt. And he didn't have to worry about, is my trolling motor going to work right when I got to the lake? He took it from there to the lake and won the tournament. It don't get no better than that. So if you're looking to purchase anything when it comes to locators or trolling motors, get online and find the bass tank. And once you purchase your product, you will be amazed at the videos that they're constantly putting on there. It's showing you how to use it. When they put my Livescope on my boat, the tips that they gave me there that day was like cutting off probably 3 months of learning time for me. They cut those corners for me and showed me how to work this, and then you got to play with it. It's not something that you go out there and you're just going to turn it on and it's going to work. You're going to have to play with it and learn how to run it, because every lake, every water condition is different. But it's the best piece of equipment that I have probably gotten in the last 20 years as far as helping me to teach people how to catch big fish and for me to learn more about the big fish that I'm trying to catch. Again, it's the bass tank. Real easy to find. Go online and find them. Again, boy, it's almost 4th of July. You know, I love this time of the year. 4th of July usually means for me, great big monster bass. So God bless each and every one of you. God bless America. Hopefully I'll see you out on the lake.